With all the controversies and setbacks, it's finally time to talk about the Speedster's first movie. What's up everyone, it is Epictastic Josh. Yes, new name, still the same channel. With that being said, let's talk about The Flash. This is the latest film in the DCEU, which is about to meet its end pretty soon. And this is directed by Andy Muschietti, director of movies such as It Chapter 1 and 2 and Mama. Stars Ezra Miller, Sasha Calle, Mary Bell Vendu, Ben Affleck, Michael Keaton, Kiersey Clemens, and Michael Shannon. If you guys are new to the channel, all my social media links are in the description box down below. If you want to be a part of my Epictastic family, of course, all of them is down there in the description box as well. And my Amazon wishlist is down there if you would like to see me anything there. And I'm more than aware about the controversy of Ezra Miller and his crimes and his antics, and as a fan first and critic second, I do not approve of their actions whatsoever. I think what they've done is horribly wrong and they should be suffering the consequences. But at the same time, it's not worth me boycotting this movie for the hundreds of thousands of other people who's put their lives into this. There, you got it? So if you're gonna talk about the crimes of Ezra Miller and boycott me and say I should not be supporting this movie, please do not write any of that in the comment section. We are not talking about the crimes of Ezra Miller. We are not endorsing it. We are not promoting his crimes. We're just talking about the movie. You got it? Sweet. Worlds collide when the Flash uses superpowers to travel back in time to change the events of the past. However, when his attempt to save his family goes wrong, he becomes trapped in a reality where General Zod has returned, threatening annihilation. And with no other heroes to turn to, Barry Allen, the Flash, looks to coax a very different type of Batman out of retirement and rescue in the prison Kryptonian, even though it's not the one he's looking for. I'm actually very curious when it comes to the Flash. I know it's weird me saying that because of all the controversy and stuff, but it's true. I was actually very curious to see how a Flash movie would turn out. And production for this movie has been production hell. This has been one of those movies that has been going through some shit with the production. Development in the late 1980s, then we had a show that got canceled, and then we had the CW show which fell off the cliff for a while. And with multiple writers and directors, and with Ezra Miller was cast in 2014, and this being part of DCEU, we have so many directors and writers over the years coming in, coming out over creative differences, until we had Andy Muschietti and the writer of Bumblebee, Christina Hodson, coming in to do this. And then this was going to adapt the Flashpoint storyline loosely, including having Ben Affleck and Michael Keaton, and also a different version of Supergirl. So, with all the controversies and such, following the multiple delays with director's changes, the setbacks of post-production, the COVID pandemic, and some of the mixed reactions, and with Ezra Miller's drama, it's a miracle that this movie even is seeing the light of day. What did I think of this? Honestly, I have to be honest, it's not gonna go down as a masterpiece, but as one of the last few movies of the DCEU, before we get the DCU with James Gunn, I actually quite enjoyed it. Now, I'm not saying, I never said this movie is perfect, okay? Let me just tell you that right now. I'm not saying this movie's perfect. There are some issues that I do have to get into.
Try to keep up.
Much like with Shazam! Fury of the Gods, I think the best way for me to talk about this is to go into what I didn't like in this movie. And the things I don't like in this movie is, one, I do think some of the pacing is a little iffy. Now, 2 hours and 24 minutes is good. It's easy, brisk. I got through it just fine. but there are some moments here with some pacing and some draggy moments that I felt like we could have done without, just for the sake of time reasons. I know there were some other cameos and some other moments that got cut out because of time reasons. I felt like there's just a few moments in the middle where you could tighten some of the pacing up a little bit. Some of the humor at times didn't always land. This is one thing with the Flash as a character that some people you're either gonna have to take or leave, no matter which interpretation it is. But here I do kind of feel like some of it was not as well handled. But a lot of comedy in this movie made me laugh here. But I think some of it was a little iffy, to say the least. Obviously, I'm just gonna say it, there is some very noticeable CGI in terms of this movie. Now, some of the CGI is good. There's a lot of CGI I think is very good in this movie. But there are some moments, especially when you get into speedster mode, which I know they have came out and said this is intentional, but I think some of it is a little bit on the nose a little bit.
What the hell is that?
And also, there are some cameos which I'm not going to spoil, mainly 2 cameos in this, because I hate 2 other DC movies, not in this current universe, that I am not a big fan of. Will say I felt like Maribel Verdú, while I thought she was fine as Nora, I felt like you could have had someone else play the part of Nora. Now, she's there to be an emotional anchor for Barry, but I felt like there were some moments with her, the emotional moments, I feel like she got right. I just feel like there were a few other moments, acting wise, I felt could have been directed a little bit better. But, could have been a little better. Going into the mix aspect, and I'm mixed on, unfortunately, Michael Keaton. Now, Michael Keaton is 71 years old. Michael Keaton is a great actor. I love Michael Keaton. He's fantastic. He was the Batman that people grew up with. He is in my top 3 favorite Batman actors. And while I love seeing him, and his Batman action was awesome, and he get right back into the character, I personally felt like he was kind of lost his touch a little bit. I don't know if it's mainly because he's older. I don't know if it's because we haven't seen him since Batman Returns. But I felt like his touch was kind of lost a little bit, unfortunately. And not to say he's bad in the movie, I just felt like they could have done a little more when it comes to his version. Personally, for me, maybe this is just me being a little biased, but I would have rather them just have Christian Bale come into the mix. Now, I know Chris Nolan is not really okay with that. He wouldn't have been okay with that, and I know Christian Bale wouldn't have either. But I felt like if you had Christian Bale's Batman, even though that universe isn't connected, neither is Michael Keaton's, I felt like it could have made it a little bit more stronger. You'll have to do some adjustments with the voice of Bale's Batman, but I feel like that would have worked. Or just have Ben Affleck's Batman be the one in retirement. But to be nice, Michael Keaton, he was good, and I loved seeing him back. Now, getting into the positives when it comes to this movie, I will say the nostalgic fun of this movie. While some of it can be a little bit crazy and a little bit too much to handle at times, I will say I did love the DC nostalgia here. Like, from the past and the present, there were some cameos I very much loved. I think overall, I definitely really enjoyed this here. And I really enjoyed myself when it came to this. I definitely very much loved the fact that despite this being a multiverse heavy movie, it felt like a Flash movie. It would have been nice if you took the Flashpoint element out of this, but I overall think that Barry Allen is the heart and soul of this movie, and I definitely do think that directing wise and the writing for him, with the emotion that they give to him, I thought was fantastic. And I also really love the scale of this movie too. And the action scenes and costumes. Andy Muschietti, if this is the type of action that Muschietti is going to do in The Brave and the Bold, then bring it on. Because I think his directing was very good with the Batman stuff. Even with the Flash stuff and the Supergirl stuff, I thought was very good. But I very much loved the fact that he took the time to focus on Barry Allen in his journey. This is a Flash movie, despite this being a Flashpoint type movie.
Kick-ass.
Acting wise, I have to be fair. As I said, I don't think the actions of this actor should be held accountable for the hundreds of thousands of people who work on it. But I have to say that Ezra Miller, he was good, or they were good in this movie, or he. I loved the performance of Ezra Miller in this. He brings a lot of vulnerability into it. There are some moments where he could be a little bit annoying, of course, with the two Barrys, but I thought it was handled quite well. I also very much liked his collaborations with Michael Keaton and Sasha Calle, and Ron Livingston and Maribel Verdú. There is one scene in particular that I found myself emotionally heartfelt by. And I definitely enjoyed the performance, of course. I really enjoyed what Miller did in the role. And it's a fucking shame that his crimes had to get the worst of him, because if he would have stayed out of trouble, a lot more people would have went to go see this. I guarantee it. Despite some of the worries this have. I will also say that, again, Michael Keaton, he's good in the movie. I just talked about him in the mixed aspects. I want to give some love to you know who this was coming, Sasha Calle, who for me, she was the second most valuable player of this movie. I really enjoyed Sasha Calle's take on Supergirl. Now, from the moment she was cast, a lot of people were very hesitant about it, but I was one of those few people who was on her side. And I was a little worried myself, but because I really loved Melissa Benoist's Supergirl. And just recently, earlier this year, I liked Meg Donnelly in Legion of Superheroes. But I thought Sasha Calle, bright future. She was fantastic as Kara Zor-El. This is a different version of Supergirl, but I definitely appreciated it. She's very calm, she has some good moments, she gets angry when she needs to, and I can see why Henry Cavill and Melissa Benoist definitely approve. I'm just gonna say it now, I would love to see Sasha's version of Supergirl carry on to Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow. Because I definitely do think that not only just with that and also with other movies that we will see her do, I found herself to be amazing. She was great. I wanted more of her here. That's one of my issues. I wish there was more of her in there because she was such a badass. And also, I gotta pull the card out. Sasha Calle is insanely gorgeous as Supergirl. She is beautiful. Like, ooh-ah.
Yes, definitely. Absolutely. I think it's signed, sealed, and delivered, honey.
Yeah. How many galoshes died to make that little number?
I'm just saying you're a babe. Own it.
Thanks. I guess.
Damn!
Also, I will say, for the little he had to do, I loved Ben Affleck's Batman. It was good seeing him here for what little he had to do. It's sad that we will not get to see more of him as Batman, but I think he went out on a bang. Some of the effects in this movie looked really good here for the $220 million budget. Again, some of it looks bad, I have said that, but I will say some of it looked really good. I also very much enjoyed the cinematography aspect and the editing here by Henry Brom, cinematography wise. The score is also very good here. I love the musical score by Benjamin Wallfish. who at this point he's just enjoying doing big budget stuff and also horror stuff. Benjamin Wallfisch is a fantastic composer. The fact that they did put the Batman theme from the 80s in here, and I also very much enjoyed a lot of the crazy Flash action. Other actors such as Michael Shannon, he was good as Zod. I liked Ron Livingston as Henry Allen here. I do wish it was Billy Crudup here. I know he has scheduling conflicts with the morning show, but I would have liked to have seen more of Billy Crudup here. Also, I enjoyed Kiersey Clemons as Iris West. She was very good in this movie as well. She's not in the movie as much, but I definitely quite enjoyed her as Iris West. You also have some great cameos in this movie I won't spoil. Like I said, there are flaws that I do have, and I do have to call them out. I did just call them out. And I will also say there are some other moments in this movie that I got emotional about. There were some good emotional scenes here with Barry in the past. There were some moments of comedy I liked. There were some intense moments here too. With all that being said, you may think that I'm maybe rambling around, but I want to be as calm about this as possible. The Flash is actually pretty good. Greatest comic book movie ever, which I wish some people will stop hyping that up when it comes to stuff like this. Now, Across the Spider-Verse is okay. Some other movies is okay. But for the final DCEU movie, despite its shortcomings with some CGI, some pacing, and some humor, and a little bit of over nostalgia and a few cameos here I was not particularly happy to see, I quite enjoyed this here as a nice little love letter to the DC fans. I know some people are not going to enjoy this, it's not going to be for everyone, and some people are not going to watch this because of the antics of Ezra Miller and such. But if you can just separate the art from the artist, which is very hard to do, and just give this movie a chance for the other hundreds and thousands of people who's put their lives into this, I think you will walk away enjoying it. I never said this movie is perfect, but it's not horrible. I've seen way worse DC movies. Green Lantern, Jonah Hex, Supergirl 1984, fucking Batman 1960-66. But it's a movie that I can see myself going back to, and while this is not my favorite movie of the DCEU, with a few adjustments and a few changes, I think this could have been my favorite DCEU film. But it is definitely one of the better ones for me personally. I can see why some people are gonna hate this. I can see why some people are gonna love this. I can see why some people's gonna be in between. But the main thing I want to get out before I close this review off is to go into a movie and judge it for yourself. If you can't watch it because of Ezra Miller, I understand. But if you're just gonna boycott a movie without giving it a fair chance, I don't think that's right. Because every movie deserves a chance, even if you don't want to see it. Ultimately, I did enjoy The Flash. This is one of my favorite movies of the year. It doesn't touch Into the Spider-Verse and is nowhere near as a masterclass as that movie was, but I definitely quite enjoyed this, and I'm gonna give this an Epictastic. Well, that's gonna do it for the video that you just watched. I will have my channel here, so you will like to see anything here. Click the channel icon, subscribe for more. I will also leave a video and maybe a playlist here, so in case you want to see what I'm about. As always, stay Epictasticness, join the Epictasticness, and you guys keep it cool.